They don't teach you about this part right here that happens when you go to your first drift day. And I'm not a bruising boy, to be honest with you. Honestly, my first drift day was probably the most exciting thing I have ever done, at least behind the wheel of a car, in some time. It was like an opposite experience that I could have imagined. You know when you try something new in the bedroom, you're like, I don't know if I like this. And then you do it and you're like, that was a blast. Like maybe not, that's probably not monetized appropriate. But anyway, I wanna talk a little bit about what going to my first drift day, what it taught me. Because I just got done going to Club FR, doing D-Day 90, I believe it was, which was insane. They've been doing it for 20 years. And I wanna share some of my things that I figured out the hard way that maybe you won't have to. So I'm Alex, AlexMartini with 2 underscores on Instagram, and today we're talking about drifting. So please don't forget to subscribe and drop your comment below on if you've been out there drifting or if you wanna get out there and wanna do something. I'm hopeful that we can have some good old experiences in the comments. We can talk about stories and terrible analogies, or not, but at least watch the whole damn video, okay? It would help me out a lot. Number one, the real reason I got a bruise on my knee is because I was literally like placing myself, locking myself in the car like this with, you know, a little mansplaining on the subway here, to not make my butt and my whole body move as I was sliding from side to side. I have a Nissan Gloria. It's a 1996. It weighs 3,500 pounds and it has 227 horsepower. And the best thing that it can do is be comfy. But what it can't do is keep my ass in one spot as I'm sliding from one side to the other. And I realized that aftermarket seats in drift cars are absolutely no joke. I got to ride along with Gels in his Nissan, and that was probably one of the best experiences outside of the fact that his safety harnesses made me feel a little uncomfy. Aftermarket seats, number one thing you can probably do if you want to make sure that you feel connected to the car. Because when I rode in Gels' car, I felt connected to that thing. If that thing started on fire, I'm not entirely sure I would have ever gotten out. Anyway, I did enjoy the Gloria, but in terms of feeling connected, not really. I felt connected-ish. Now, the second thing I realized on my first drift day was that the e-brake needs definitely a lot higher than I initially thought. See, I've only spent a couple times on the sim rig actually practicing to drift. I don't have that much experience, and I don't go out into parking lots anymore and do dumb shit. It just seems like a lot of work. What I can say is when I got to the event, when I got to Shawano, I thought I was gonna be able to clutch kick literally everything. And I did try to literally clutch kick every possible turn I could. And outside of the fact that I couldn't feel connected to the ground and the fact that I was understeering like a madman, I had a lot of people help me and tell me, hey Alex, you see that little hydro you got in there? You're gonna have to actually use it. I had zero experience using an inline hydro before, and that was my very first time. And I can say, it's needed, at least on that track, definitely needed. When I was going around some of the turns, I had realized that just kind of going out and trying to clutch kick everything, it didn't allow me to connect a whole lot because I didn't have enough momentum. I didn't have enough speed to get the car moving. Now, I was kind of being a little bit of a bitch and I wasn't driving as fast as I could, but at the end of the day, it's my first drift day and I'm here to tell you about what that was like. I'm not experienced, I'm not James Dean yet. Another thing I learned while I was using the hydro, Gels taught me this, 10,000 other people taught me this, and I still forgot it because you forget things when you're doing them. It just happens. Okay, I felt like I was getting yelled at inside my own mind. But when you use this, you also have to use this. Like you have to put the clutch in. Otherwise, the whole transmission is like slowing down the car. You lose all momentum. Guess what else you learn? When you do this, you also have to do this. You have to like that. Because, I hope you're following along in this illustration, my car has no goddamn power underneath 4,000 RPM. Zero, none, nilch. It's like driving a fucking train, okay, from the middle car. It is the worst experience of my life. So every single time I started to learn how to use the hydro, I couldn't connect anything either because there was no power. Because I got the car out of boost all the way down to 2,000 RPM, and then I'd smash it again, and then I'd clutch kick, and then I ruined all my momentum. So, gas down, clutch in with the hydro so that you're not slowing down your entire drivetrain. Stiff springs on big cars. I learned that if you are gonna drive or drift a big car, springs are important in your coils. I love my Fortunatos. I think they're fantastic. The only thing I wish I could probably lock down a little bit more is how much weight transfer was occurring in the car. And a lot of that has to do with my spring rate. I was only running 8Ks and 10Ks, and I'm probably gonna need to change that to something a little bit firmer if I want to experience less of that as a whole. Now, I've said this a million times, I'm gonna say it again. People in the drift community, when you need help, very helpful, okay? I learned more asking people random ass questions. Literally every single time I lined up to the front to start my little run, I'd be like, hey, tell me something to change, tell me something to fix, and they'd come over and they'd say, hey, try this, do this. That helped me more than me just trying my best literally the whole time. And I will say, I think a lot of that has to do with the potential like demise demise of drift tracks. And let me explain a little bit. When I was there, Club FR and that team was talking about how the ownership of Shawano and the track and the management had shifted. They'd been there for 20 years and it had shifted. The new manager or owner, I don't really know for a fact, was talking about how they were really grateful that this person was an advocate for the drifting community. He was an autocross person, but he did understand and respect the drifting audience. And that kind of got me thinking, when you look at drifting as a whole, it's kind of a really shitty motorsport to have on a proper track because it eats up a lot of the track. You're constantly repaving things. You're constantly having people drop off the track. You're constantly dealing with cars that, for lack of a better term, probably wouldn't always meet the same spec as something that needs to go on a track like Road America, for instance. So you're dealing with more of that variety, and a lot of times drifting is a really big kind of, I don't know, weight on a track. So you have people saying, hey, take care of your shit. Make sure you clean up after yourself. Make sure the track is as nice as when you left it. And that's something that you need to do at every single track. But I do see that way more often, or at least I saw it and heard it way more at my first drift event than I've seen it at some autocross events, and I've seen at even some track events. And I think that's because the community is aware as to how like almost isolated this motorsport is. One of the guys that we were talking to that was kind of giving us the rules of and laws of the land was talking about how drifting can kind of be seen as like the redheaded stepchild of all motorsport types. And I think that by having that image, a lot of people actually care a whole hell of a lot more, because if they don't have that track, there's really nowhere else that you can go. But those are some of the things that I learned at my very first drift event, and I'm so excited to get back out there again. I just wish they had more events because it was actually a really good time, and I spent a lot of time in the car considering how much it cost. It was $170. Usually you're spending about $350 to get out on Road America, but that is a whole different landslide of events. I had a blast. I hope you guys did too. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you want to see me actually at my first drift event, the video was posted last week, so it'd mean a lot if you go check it out. I put a thing over here. Thank you. I'm Alex, AlexMartini with 2 underscores on Instagram, and we will see you later. Adios.